Tonight, as elementary teachers set their first strike dates, the government offers up some cash to parents.
My hope is today with the announcement is just a signal to parents that we're trying to be on their side and put a few bucks in their pockets to help them with the impacts of the adverse reality.
The province is offering parents up to $60 a day. The union representing teachers calls it a bribe. Plus,
he was terrified, honking his horn, yelling at the top of his lungs.
Police identify the people involved in this wild crash on the 401. And this city marks 1 week since that fatal crash in Iran that killed 176 people. Universities across the country holding a moment of silence while a North York vigil continues to grow. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. Next Monday and Tuesday could see hundreds of thousands of students out of class. 3 major teachers' unions plan to strike, shutting down schools across the GTA. The response from the education minister today, an offer of cash to help parents make alternative arrangements. Lorenda Redekop has the latest.
Today it was high school teachers from 16 different school boards out on strike, including in Durham. The union confirmed Toronto high schools will be affected next Tuesday. English Catholic teachers, high school and elementary, will also walk off the job. 1 day earlier, next Monday, TDSB elementary schools will be affected by that union's first one-day strike.
We're all on the same page with this. We need the cuts to be removed.
While the Minister of Education points the finger of blame at everybody but himself, it's clear that the common denominator here is the Ford education agenda.
Children and youth.
The education minister denied that.
I think there is a pathway to get a deal. I think it requires, though, the teachers' unions to be willing to look at their original proposal and make some moves. They have made none.
The province also announced money to help parents who may have to find emergency childcare with a strike. Here's a look at how much the government would compensate them. The maximum $60 is for children 6 and under, not yet in school, but who attend a school-based childcare center required to close. It's $40 for junior and senior kindergarten students, $25 for grades 1 to 7, and $40 for special needs students up to grade 12 or age 21 and under.
How appalling that is. How insulting to parents in this province that he's trying to transparently bribe them for support.
The ministry says paying parents will cost them up to $48 million a day. That's less than the $60 million the province pays out to teachers.
I think the compensation is not the priority. I think they come to an agreement. I think that is more important.
I agree wholeheartedly with the teachers. They know what they're standing up for.
This school has a daycare inside it. The Toronto District School Board tells me that all childcare centres located inside schools will be permitted to stay open in the event of a strike. But parents should check first. Now, in terms of negotiations, the unions for elementary, high school, and Catholic teachers all tell me they have no talks planned with the province. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
There are a lot of dates to work out if you're a parent. We've laid them all out for you online. Just head to cbc.ca/Toronto. And it's actually a 4-day weekend for many elementary students. There are PA days in Toronto and York Region this Friday. So some parents are not only looking for childcare this week, now many are scrambling for options for next week's strikes. Well, that has several organizations and even municipalities stepping in to help. Angelina King has a look at some options.
So this is our robot. Could you please turn it?
BotCamp's elite competitive team creates robots that play sports. Tonight, they're getting ready for next month's tournament, and if their teachers at school and the government can't reach a deal by the end of the week, they'll be getting some extra practice on their day off.
It's probably going to be a very boring day, so I will come here and work on our robot for the February tournament.
When Sarah Ackler found out she may have a day off, she asked her parents if she could spend the day at BotCamp.
It's like fun, and I actually get to do something, so yeah, I want to come here.
Her dad can't argue with that.
Since she's going to be home on Monday, it seems like a win-win situation.
Because gravity is going to want to tend to keep it down, not up.
Bot Camp ran day camps during previous strikes this school year. Registration is already open in case strikes go ahead Monday and Tuesday.
A lot of it, again, was catering to parents who were really stuck because there's not much notice given for these strikes.
And if the strikes continue, so will the day camps. And others are following suit across the GTA, like a martial arts camp in Mississauga, a theater camp in Thornhill, or one that focuses on STEM. Plus, municipalities like Whitchurch Stouffville are running their own camps. Even the ROM is planning day camps, just to name a few.
Actually, that's a good question. What happens if you do that?
As a previous teacher, Lim says it's important learning continues even if kids aren't in class.
For both parents and students and families, we still want to be able to give them an educational experience, even under not the best circumstances.
With the latest strike just announced today, it's likely there'll be more programs and camps like this organized in the coming days. So even if kids aren't in the classroom, they'll certainly still be learning. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
The OPP says it has tracked down 2 drivers involved in a highway collision we showed you last night, where a truck was filmed dragging a car along the 401. This happened 2 days ago on the 401 near Bayview. This now viral Instagram video shows a truck pushing the car sideways along the highway. Police say luckily no one was injured, but the driver of that car, as you can understand, is still shaken.
I just got off the phone with the driver of that car, a male, 40-year-old man from Scarborough, who was certainly caught by surprise when the vehicle started coming into his lane, hitting him and turning him sideways, pushing him into the shoulder. He was terrified, honking his horn, yelling at the top of his lungs, trying to, get some assistance.
Now, police also got a hold of the 2 people in the truck. They claim they had no idea anything was happening. The investigation continues. No charges have been laid yet. And convicted Maple Leaf Gardens sex offender Gordon Stuckless is now out on day parole. Stuckless's lawyer confirming to CBC News that the 70-year-old was released back in December to live at a Hamilton halfway house. Stuckless pleaded guilty in 1997 to sex assaults on 24 boys while he worked as an equipment manager at Maple Leaf Gardens between 1969 and 1988. His lawyer says Stuckless has been chemically castrated over the past 20 years and is of little to no risk to reoffend. And Toronto police making an arrest in a murder that took place late last year. 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf was gunned down on December 29th. Yusuf was approached by 2 people near McCowan and Eglinton. He was shot and died at the scene. Police say a search warrant earlier today led to the arrest of a man and a seizure of a handgun. 21-year-old O'Day Bazurher from Toronto is now facing a first-degree murder charge. Colin Kennedy's here with the first look at the forecast. We're going to have a dusting of snow overnight.
Yes, we are, Mike, and because of that, tomorrow morning it could mean a few wet spots on the roads and the car needs to get brushed off, that kind of thing. So allow just a little bit of extra time as we're going to be seeing this through the overnight. Closer to the shore, it's a little bit of a mix or more of those wet flurries and drizzle. But temperature drop, yes, some colder air is going to be moving in. I mean, really the kind where feels like winter. And our weekend weather, we're looking at some messy conditions, especially for Saturday as that next system comes through. So tonight it's this light snow, rain showers through southwestern Ontario, and then by tomorrow morning it should be gone in terms of what's falling. But what will happen is northwesterly winds are going to be quite strong. It's going to make it feel very cold, and some snow squalls will begin to develop. So areas around London and even up towards Barrie, you need to be a little cautious because there could be some whiteout conditions at times. But you see with this one, it's moving through quickly. That's why the amounts are so traced to 5 centimeters to the northwest of us. -1 overnight tonight, but the temperature doing the opposite of what normally does into the afternoon, Mike. It's going to fall to -4, feeling like about -12.
And it's going to keep falling. All right.
Yes.
Thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
Marking 1 week since the deadly plane crash in Iran, hundreds of students paused their studies at the University of Toronto today, standing together in silence to remember. Now, this moment of silence was just one of several held at universities across the country. Canada's academic community was particularly affected, and so many of those killed were professors, students, and alumni. 8 people from the U of T community, including 6 students, were on board the flight. In memory of those lives, the school announced the Iranian Student Memorial Scholarship Fund. First $250,000 will be matched by the university 3-to-1, and after that, dollar for dollar. The scholarship will be available to international students from Iran or students from any background pursuing Iranian studies at the university. Meanwhile, a vigil at Mel Laskman Square continues to grow. Messages of support left in English and Farsi, poetry, and Persian desserts among the things left by people who knew the victims, as well as from total strangers. And you can read some of the tributes online. Our Shannon Martin has compiled a list of 5 of them. You can find that on our CBC Toronto website. And also at U of T, a task force looking into how the university delivers mental health services released its final report, recommending the school simplify the process. Now, that comes after at least 3 students died by suicide on campus. Ali Gasol has the details.
My friend was the first suicide, so the one last year in March. And then the protest was the next day.
Okay, go!
U of T students have rallied after each suicide that has happened over the last few months, desperately calling for better mental health supports or at least an acknowledgement of a mental health crisis.
Because what is the reality of the stress that is studying here?
I think it comes a lot with the name, University of Toronto. You know, it's known as the best school in Canada. But I think the pressure is a lot different than what people realize.
That and not knowing where to turn can be really isolating.
I know when I was coming into school, I didn't know there was any kind of health and wellness center. I didn't know there was accommodations for mental health.
For those who did seek help, they were met with long wait lists, both to see counselors in person and waiting in the queue on a crisis hotline.
It's definitely a known problem that we're all experiencing, and I think that the conversation certainly needs to be had. However, I just don't know who we can ask to be accountable for, helping us out with these issues.
So some of the students that we spoke with today said they are hopeful now that the university has an action plan here, but they also told us that they would like to see some more accountability. As the university's provost, what do you say to the students about the lessons learned here?
I think the most important thing to get out to students is that we are listening to you. On the basis of that, we're developing this new partnership with CAMH. And with that partnership, we're going to revamp our services and improve the care that we provide.
In the last 6 months, U of T conducted a review of its mental health policies. And after consultations with both professionals and students, they came up with 21 recommendations.
Some of the priorities are a new partnership with the Center for Addiction and Mental Health that will allow us to enhance training, improve pathways to service, providing the best care for our students based on their level of need.
Are you hopeful that things will get better here?
I am. I'd like to always stay hopeful,
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Again, it's a really tough.
If you need to talk to someone, you can call Crisis Services Canada. That's at 1-833-456-4566, or you can text 45645. And still ahead on our newscast.
It's extremely rewarding for us to know that we're able to operate on patients and they are pain-free.
A Toronto neurosurgeon is marking her 1,000th operation, treating patients from across the country and around the world suffering from excruciating pain. We'll tell you more about the rare condition after the break. One of the biggest knocks against owning an electric car is concern about just how far you can go before needing to recharge. Well, today, Canadian Tire announced it is building a network of charging stations across the country that could let you drive all the way from Charlottetown to Nanaimo.
We will be installing 240 EV fast charging stations and 55 level 2 charging stations at 90 locations across Canada.
Now, advocates hope that that very visible presence will help promote awareness of electric vehicles. According to Electric Mobility Canada, sales of e-vehicles rose 25% last year in Canada, but in Ontario, sales plummeted by more than 50% after the province canceled rebate programs. Well, a world-leading Toronto doctor is marking a major surgical milestone. The surgeon has performed over 1,000 operations on a mysterious pain condition. A condition so bad, patients say it feels like a thunderbolt striking the face. And not many doctors know how to treat it. Nick Bovair explains.
It's the kind of innocuous task that most of us would never think twice about. But just a few years ago, even this could have been debilitating.
Basically an excruciating pain that is almost indescribable that hits one side of your face and sends these almost like an electronic shock.
For Maureen Shaughnessy-Kitts, the inexplicable sensation could come on while brushing her teeth. Sometimes a mild breeze would set it off. On a scale of 1 to 10, she said the pain was a 13.
What has suddenly gone wrong with my mind that I'm experiencing this pain and it is just so bad? And then through a miracle of neurosurgery, I am who I am today, totally pain-free.
Shaughnessy-Kitts was diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia, or TN, a rare condition so painful it's sometimes called the suicide disease. It's triggered when a nerve deep in the brain gets compromised and starts sending faulty pain signals. Only a handful of Canadian surgeons know how to deal with it.
Using a microscope, we go right to the nerve and get this blood vessel out of the way, and thereby eliminate the contact between the vessel and the nerve. So our working distance is...
Dr. Mojgan Hodai operated on Shaughnessy-Kitts in 2017. She completed her 1,000th TN surgery last month.
It's one of the very few pain syndromes that we're actually able to achieve pain freedom.
People from around the world visit Dr. Hodai here at Toronto Western Hospital. And these days, she's doing more than just surgeries. Her team is developing new imaging tools to capture how pain affects the brain.
We are working strongly to figure out why does this pain happen in the first place? Why is it that our brain is able to perceive pain that is so strong?
With that knowledge, doctors could better understand and diagnose mysterious conditions like TN.
There you go.
Perhaps giving hope to other suffering patients.
I am feeling so terrific and so thankful and so grateful for the experience that I received.
Nick Boisvert, CBC News, Toronto.
For 6 months and
Well, the Raptors playing with some extra firepower tonight. Marc Gasol is back in the lineup. Your full game highlights coming up after the break.
The weather update is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Marc Gasol back in the lineup for the Raptors tonight as they play in Oklahoma City. Gasol not showing any rust. Here he casually knocks down 3 of his 9 first-half points. Later on, Kyle Lowry drives in, stops, gets the ball back, eventually finds Norman Powell, who hits a wide-open 3. Toronto led by as much as 30 in the first half, and they almost blew that lead in the second as the Thunder chip away, leading to a wild finish there. Gennari making the slam. That would make it a 3-point game in the fourth. But Toronto would regroup and hold on to win 130 to 121. Colette Kennedy's back with her extended forecast, and it's not a good sign when the daytime high for Thursday is going to take place in, well, about 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just be steady or falling from there, Mike. That's exactly what's happening. And this entire month, so this entire year of 2020, every day our daytime high has been above seasonal. For 15 days this has occurred. What is that average high? Well, for today would be minus 2.2, low of minus 10.6. It's time we're going to see that pattern turning around. Today, though, we were above at 3.9 unofficially, and our temperature still falling off here as we head towards midnight, so 0, -1, kind of for that range for our low. But what we're seeing is this system that's moving through quite quickly. That's why it's 2 to 5 centimeters, and really for the city, it's almost more like a trace to 1 centimeter, that 5 maybe more so to the north and west of us, and mostly showers to southwestern Ontario. Gone by tomorrow morning, but still you'll need to brush your car off. You're going to need to just allow a tiny bit of extra time because of the wet roadways that we may be seeing. And then as we head into Friday, things will begin to improve, but in the meantime, northwesterly winds are very strong tomorrow, so there will be some squalls setting up in the lee of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. Friday's kind of the breather day. However, it will be a cold day. So if you are someone, and I've heard a few folks telling me they still have not pulled out their real winter coat, you're going to need it for Friday. And then Saturday, you're going to need the boots. As we go through the day, we will see some of that snow moving through. At times, it could be a little bit of a mix, and that will have an impact on the actual accumulation for the GTA. It would bring it down if it's more of a rainy kind of mix at times, but mostly it looks like a snow event. 10 to 15 centimeters further to the north and west of us could be that 15 to maybe even 20 centimeters. So we'll keep looking at those numbers as we get closer to that event on Saturday. Overnight in southwestern Ontario, after you see some of this mess moving through, then you get into just a few flurries left behind. The temperature kind of almost steady there near -1, but with those strong winds, it's going to feel like -9. Could see some flurries certainly off and on through the day tomorrow. For us into Toronto, -1, but kind of steady there towards the morning hours, and then the temperature falling with those strong northwesterly winds. It's really going to feel cold with that wind chill tomorrow afternoon, -12, even though the temperature will be -4. There's the cold air Thursday night into Friday extreme that we'll be feeling. We're just not used to it. That's why. And then Saturday, the snow event. But look at some of these overnight lows, Mike. Other than Saturday into Sunday, because that system's moving through, we got to get used to winter.
It's back with a vengeance. Thanks a lot, Colette.
You're welcome.
So that snow coming here shouldn't be much of a surprise for anyone living here. We do get snow in Toronto. But in lower mainland BC, many just aren't used to seeing it on their streets and sidewalks. And that may be why this Vancouver homeowner didn't have a snow shovel handy. So he grabbed what may or may not be the next best thing. It appears to be a patio chair. Not sure how effective it is for snow removal, but hey, props for ingenuity. Well, a picture-perfect photo of baby raccoons is going viral, with artists recreating it right across the world. We'll show you more of the art and introduce you to the Windsor man who took the original, coming up after the break. Well, take a look at this, a rare moment of 3 baby raccoons popping their heads out of a tree hollow. This photo was taken last June near Windsor, and it's since been recreated more than 100 times by artists from around the world. The photographer behind the image says the response has been overwhelming and unexpected.
Not in my wildest dreams of wildlife photography did I ever imagine such a wild response to a photograph. To have so many artists recreate it, it's been a great honor.
Many popular Instagram accounts shared his photo, and he has since gained more than 5,000 followers on the photo sharing app. People got creative with their recreations, making drawings, paintings, and even Christmas ornaments. His favorite is this. It's an actual wood carving of the photo. That's incredible. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. You can get caught up on our website at any time, cbc.ca/Toronto. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.